Good evening. My name is Steve. I'll be your host tonight. Steve Kiesel. I'm from the Department of Technology in SFUSD. We want to welcome you to diving deeper with SFUSD technology apps for distance learning. And we'll be guiding you through some of the key apps and how to access the most important features tonight. If you have a YouTube account, make sure that you are signed in, because that way you'll be able to participate in the chat. You can start by telling us who you are and where your student goes to school, and then go ahead and write any questions you have in the chat as well. Okay, and I will make sure to turn on closed captions so that people can also read what I'm saying. And again, my name is Steve Kiesel from the Department of Technology. It's great to have you with us. You're welcome to tell us in the chat who you are. By the end of tonight's session, you'll be able to describe the key features of the essential SFUSD apps for distance learning. We call them the technology apps because there are other apps out there that science has and math and others, but these are the ones that overarch all of the content areas and get used for all kinds of distance learning. So you'll not only be able to describe the key features of those apps, but you'll be able to explain how to access those features as well and how to use them. What are the essential technology apps for distance learning? Well, there's ParentVUE and StudentVUE, also Seesaw, Google Classroom, and Zoom. There are others, but these are really the core ones that your child will be using possibly every day, or you will be using. So let's start with ParentVUE. That's the one that you would be using as a parent. How do you access it? And how do you activate your account? Actually, we addressed that in our previous webinar. I'm not sure where I'm going with that slide. It launched something new, but that's okay. There we are. So to find out how to access and activate your ParentVUE account, go ahead and see the recording from our webinar number 2, which is on the same webinar page that got you to this stream. Or you can also find it at sfusd.edu/familywebinars. Or you can find just the right tutorial for yourself on this fantastic page in the district website. So let me show you that. If you go to sfusd.edu and click on families, and then if you're not streaming on Zoom, it probably loads a little quicker. Here we are. And when you scroll down, you'll find that there is a whole bunch of stuff, including information about the family portal. Not just, that's the login, but these are the actual resources. And when you click on Family Portal Resources, there is a lot of stuff. Not only how to activate your account, online applications, different things about ParentVUE, like how to update your contact info or view student email or view Clever Pages. And these videos, it's usually videos, and they show you not only how to do it on the web version, but also if you have the smartphone app version. So very helpful way to find out lots of things, including how to access ParentVUE and how to activate your account if you have not done that yet. But once you have activated your account, let's take a look at what you can find. And so just that's all right. So that didn't work so well today, but it was just a quick video showing when you find the little ParentVUE icon, what happens. It opens the app. It will probably ask for a password, or if you have an iPhone, it might look at your face to recognize that you are in fact you, because this is a password protected app. And once it's verified that, you will get the launch screen. So the launch screen has several important features. We're going to look through all of them. I want to thank my colleague Dan for making all of these screen grabs. He's a Lakeshore dad, so he made screen grabs for his own ParentVUE account to share with us. So once you're in the launch screen, one thing you can do is go down to the My Account button at the bottom, and when you click on it, you get a bunch of options. For one is you can look at your information as it stands in Synergy, and then you can decide how you want to be notified and if you want to be notified. So you can click on notifications, and if you notice that the information like your email address or your phone number is actually out of date, you can click on emails or phones right there in the app, and then you can just tap and type your new email or your corrected email. And then once you've typed the information, again, I can't show you Dan's because thank you, Dan, for sharing your screen, so that's masked over. But just tap and type and then press update right there. And it's that easy. You don't have to go downtown. You don't have to call the school secretary. You've just updated your contact information. Other things that you can find on the launch screen are messages. If there were any messages, there would be a number there, and if there were new messages, and then when you click on that number, there it is. When you tap on that right there where that little arrow is, you'll see whatever number of messages it tells you are new, and you'll be able to read your messages. These could be messages from the district, messages from your school, or from one of your child's teachers. So some other things you can do from the launch screen is, actually, this is brand new, is online registration. I'll show you later where you can watch more video tutorials on that, because if you're wanting to register your child for a school or apply to be on the list for a school, this is a new feature, so you'll want to know how to do that, and I'll show you that later. And also then there's information unique to each student. If you have more than one students enrolled in SFUSD, they'll all be on this same screen of ParentVUE, which is great that you only have one app and you can access all the information for all your kids. So if you were to tap on one of the students in particular, you'll find a bunch of options. This is called the navigation page for the student because there's so many options for that student. Oh, I wanted to mention as well, if you click on the, I believe it's the settings gear in the app, you can choose the language that you want all of this to appear in. So of course, the best time to do that is on the first screen when you open up the app. And if you do not speak English, you can choose several other languages to have Synergy translate into. So once you are working your way up and down what they call the navigation screen, which is the information specific to each student, you can see the student's calendar. This is really mostly the school's calendar, but it also, if the teacher is using the feature as well, it can include other deadlines that the teacher has made available, or special events like field trips. And also on the navigation page is attendance data. So you can get all of the individual dates that your child was marked present or absent. Or if you tap on the summary button, you can get a full summary of your child's attendance as well. In addition to all of this, you can get your child's class schedule. Now, that's actually not that helpful if your student has only one class. If they're elementary, for example, they're probably with the same teacher all day. But if your student is in middle and high school, then you can find out exactly where they'll be when, or where they should be when, as the case may be. So other things worth knowing is There are teachers that maintain a class website. They put things like announcements, homework, other documents. These are all things that a teacher could choose to post in ParentVUE. Other teachers post those things in other places. They might do it in Seesaw, or they might have it in Clever, but there are teachers that have a class website in ParentVUE. And if you're not sure which way your teacher likes to communicate to students, you can email them. One moment, please. I just had my daily log out from my district account, and I will be needing that because I'll be guiding you through some places. So thank you for bearing with me while I logged in again for the day. When you are in the Synergy app, another thing that you can look at is Gradebook. So again, not all teachers use Gradebook, especially elementary teachers. There are elementary teachers who only use Gradebook at the end of the marking period. Each teacher has their own system. I taught younger grades, and it didn't make sense to me as a primary teacher to just do grades by having like a running tally that I divide by some number and get a figure, because I always wanted to be more holistic in how I graded students. So, but if you have students in middle or high school, they very well may be using Gradebook on a regular basis. So other things that you can access are your child's report card. Now this will be the most recent report card. I'll show you where you can find other ones. So this particular child, this screenshot was taken before the report cards were posted. You can also get school information. So this, again, child goes to Lakeshore. Sure, there's the principal's information. You can click on the icon to actually email the principal. The address of your school, the phone number of your school, the website of your school, it's all here right in ParentVUE. And you can also find out your students' own information, their name, their ID number, their gender, grade level, the address that the district thinks your child lives. You can always change that if need be. Right now, you would do a help ticket with the family link. We'll explain how to do that. And you can find your child's birth date just in case you forgot. Remember to get them a present. Here's your child's email address as well and phone number. Now, if you click on additional information, and the only reason, if you're doing this on the website, I don't believe there is an additional information place to click. It's just that there's so much information, it doesn't fit on one screen on a smartphone. So if you click on additional information, you can find other things like emergency contact info, StudentVUE. You can actually click to see what the StudentVUE view looks like from their own perspective. If the student has the StudentVUE app, you can see the student password. You can see, and that's important to have because they will be logging in for distance learning as well. And you can see the homeroom teacher information. You can also see state tests. If your student is in grades 3 and under, they have not taken their state tests yet, most likely, so there's probably nothing to look at yet. But if they're in grades 4 and above, you're probably curious to see how they did. And under the Documents tab, you can see the report card information. These are the several report cards going back in time for your student. And you can also see their Clever login badge under Documents. So that's important to know. So if you have the app, there's the OLR or online registration list, and you can use that to apply to attend a school or request a device or exchange of a device. For example, if your student has a district Chromebook and the cat knocked a glass of water on it and it needs to be replaced, you would use this form to request another device. And also you can update your emergency card here on the ParentVUE app. So let's check the chat to see if there are any questions. Again, I encourage you to go ahead and log into YouTube and use that feature. But for now, we don't have questions in the chat, so I'm going to continue going. So what if you leave the webinar and you have questions later, or you get stuck or need more help? If you want to learn more about ParentVUE, actually, you can take advantage of a one-to-one, I guess you'd call it tutoring program from a trained volunteer. And you can access that in 20 different languages just by entering this address into your web browser, bit.ly/sftechtutors. bit.ly/sftechtutors, and that will take you to a place where there's more information about the program, and then you can go and choose what it is you'd like support with, and you're good to go. Also, for more help, you can go to sfusd.edu/ParentVUE. I told you we'd look at that in a second, so we certainly will. But before we do, I'll mention that we also have live support through the Student and Family Resource link. You can either go to familylink.sfusd.edu, and when you do that, you can fill out a form where you explain exactly what it is you need, and someone will get back to you by email. Or you can send an email to familylink@sfusd.edu. Remember to be as specific as you can. Tell them who your child is, where they go to school, what the exact issue is, because the more information you provide, the quicker the folks can get to answering your questions. And you can leave that information as in the form of a phone call or phone message. If you call on weekdays, or school days, I should say, between 9 to 1, there's actually someone that can answer the phone and talk to you live and help out. If you call outside of those hours or on weekends or on holidays, just leave a message and someone will get back to you. But before we go further, I told you I would give you a little tour of the sfusd.edu/ParentVUE page. You remember I showed you how to get there just on the district website under families. But on that ParentVUE page, you can log in to ParentVUE. You can find out lots of other pieces of information, including how to view assignments, how to view report cards. And again, this is the new feature I was telling you about, the online application. There's a video that tells you how to do it. Actually, the videos are really soon to come out. I think tomorrow they may even be out. If not, I believe this week, because I've seen the rough cut. And but there's also an explanation of how to do it. There's even more detailed information, and you get the step-by-step for the application. Very helpful to have these tools if you would like to enroll your student online, and now you don't have to come downtown to some office and be stuck in a room with other people who are breathing on you. Okay, so the student side of our student information system is called StudentVUE. Your side is ParentVUE if you're a parent, but then there's also StudentVUE. And I'm going to play for you a brief video on how the StudentVUE app, what it looks like, how it works, etc. Let's take a quick look. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit because we've talked about a lot of this already, but let's show what it looks like to log into StudentVUE. You can do it either online or through the app. So first online is portal.sfusd.edu, and you'll notice there's actually It's the same place where you go to log into ParentVUE, but your student would click on StudentVUE. Then your student can enter their username, which is their district email address, and their password, and they can log in. And once they do, they have a home page which has announcements. And perhaps a letter from the teacher or something from the school. Then they can look at their classes, look at assignments. Again, that's if the teacher is using StudentVUE and ParentVUE as a way of sharing assigned work. You can look at the calendar, including assignments due if your teachers are doing that, or other school announcements or school calendar events. You can look at attendance data. So these are all the things that you were able to see, a lot of the things that you were able to see as a parent. Your student is also able to see the same things. So anyway, you're welcome to just tour that yourself as you go through StudentVUE. If you've looked at these things with me in ParentVUE, most of those things are also available to your child. So that's good. You're not in the dark about important information. And it was probably helpful, I think, for you to see what this StudentVUE app looks like on the website, because again, the ParentVUE app looks a lot the same on the website, and likewise with the app. We shared with you the ParentVUE version of the app, and then your child's StudentVUE version would look pretty similar as well. So now you've seen ParentVUE and StudentVUE both as an app and as a web page. So let's see if there are any questions. I'm checking the chat again, and I do encourage anyone who's viewing to type their questions in the chat, and from time to time we stop and we try to answer them. Okay, I'm going to continue again with closed captions on. So what if your student is using StudentVUE and gets stuck or needs more help? The Student and Family Resource link is for students too. So do remember to make note of that web address or bookmark it, or write down that phone number, or better yet, put it in your smartphone's contacts. Another important app for distance learning is Seesaw. And if your student is in grades PK through 2, there's a good chance that their teacher is using this as the learning management system. What is a learning management system? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I will tell you. Put it in your smartphone's contacts. Another important app for distance learning is Seesaw. And if your student, sorry about that, I was just doing a sound check on the YouTube stream to make sure you're able to hear this. Okay, so what is a learning management system? It's a place where teachers can post materials, assignments, videos, announcements. Students can open and do assignments. They can capture and upload audio and video. They can add to their journal. They can comment on each other's work if the teacher has turned on that feature. And actually, there's a Seesaw family app where, as a parent, you can see and comment on your child's work. Also receive and send messages. You receive messages from the teacher, send them to the teacher. And Seesaw is a great app. After we're all back in physical schools again, and you're off at work or wherever you spend the day, if you have the Seesaw app, your child can create something, and the teacher or even the child themselves can upload it into Seesaw, and your phone buzzes and you get this notification that your child just posted something. You open up the Seesaw app and there is the picture that she just drew. It's kind of exciting. You don't have to wait till they get home. And then when you ask them, what'd you do today? And they say nothing. you, you can see exactly what they did. It's a beautiful way of participating in your students' work. So, how do you access Seesaw? To find out how to access it, go ahead and view webinar 2. This is webinar 3. We covered that last time at sfusd.edu/family-webinars. Or check out the technology video tutorials at sfusd.edu under families. Let me show you this one too, because this is a great resource, not just for Seesaw, but for all of our distance learning apps, especially if you're someone who learns by video. So it's going to take forever to load today. Ah, there we are. Anyway, what you would do is you would go to sfusd.edu and under families, I'm going to turn off my camera actually, because that will make this all work just a little faster. And really, you don't need to see me. Okay. Actually, somehow we ended up on that preview screen for Seesaw, which I'll be sharing with you later. Here we are, information for families. And if you go further on down, you will see lots of resources for families. But actually, I'm just going to type here in the district web bar, family video tutorials in the search bar. And there is the video tutorial page. So again, I'm trying to show you how pretty much everything you need to get is right on the district website. And if you can't find it, you can just type it in the search bar. Save yourself having to remember a whole lot of things or bookmark a whole lot of things. So, oh, it's the Family Video Tutorials page. Here's a link to tonight's webinar, in fact. But then there are all of these great playlists by topic, including a whole Seesaw playlist in YouTube. And things are even organized by home language as well. So these are very useful ways to find out more information about Seesaw. But since you're with us tonight, we're actually going to give you a live tour. And here's how it would work. I will log in as a teacher, and I will post an assignment which will go to a student. I will quickly do the assignment as the student, and then I will show you how the student can post that. The teacher approves it, and then you as a family member get a notification that there is something for you. So how do you actually get that family app and make it active? The teacher would send you a QR code, could be by email, it could be by an attachment, lots of ways they might get it to you. Or even just a code that you enter instead of a QR code so you don't have to scan it. And once you get that code, you find the Seesaw Family app on your smartphone's application store, load it in, click on Create Family Account if you haven't already created it. And then you'll tap on that blue button to scan the QR code. And then you're in. You might have to create a password for yourself, but that's not hard to do. Actually, so let's do this live. And here goes. I'm going to go out of this slideshow for a second. And I'm going to head on over to Seesaw. So here, as a I want to make sure that I'm not logged into my student account. Sorry about that. All right, so here I'm going to make sure that I am logged into my teacher account so I can create this assignment. That's seesaw.me. Gonna log in. There we go, I'm already logged in. And as a teacher, I'm gonna create a new activity for my students. Assign an activity. And it's gonna be a journal activity. And I've already prepared it for you. It says, what animal do you feel like today? Draw a picture and explain how you feel that way. And I've even set it up so that the instructions can play and the student.
What animal do you feel like today? Draw a picture. Explain why you feel that way.
And then as a teacher, I assign it. I decide which class I'm going to assign it to. And there we go. It's already assigned. So then, if I am the student, perhaps named I'm a student, I get a notification saying, oh, look, you have a new assignment. And I'm going to see what that is. So I'm going to go over to my inbox. And I have this notification that I have a new class journal activity. So I'm going to click on that. And it looks like the assignment didn't post. Hang on here. Ah, there it is. It's under activities. So it's a journal activity. As a student, I play the instructions.
What animal do you feel like today? Draw a picture. Explain why you feel that way.
Which says, draw a picture. And what animal do you feel like today? Draw a picture. Explain how you feel that way. And as the student, I can now add the response. So I'm going to draw a picture. I'm going to click on draw. I'm going to choose my drawing tool. Let's be an orange kitty. And I could click on the text button there and type something about how I am a kitty. If I'm using an iPad or a touchscreen Chromebook, I could actually use the drawing tools and write with my finger. I'm using a mouse right now, so it's a little harder. Or I could actually record. This is great language practice. Ready? Start recording. I feel like a kitty today because I'm just a little mischievous and playful. Then I click done. And when I'm satisfied with, I could play that, hear what it sounds like. I feel like a kitty today because I'm just a little mischievous and playful. And then I'm going to post it as a kid. Ta-da! So now it's waiting for the teacher to review it. So I'm going to go back to the teacher page and refresh it. Go back to class. And look at that. I have a notification that there's a student with something, so I'm going to review the post. I'm going to approve all because I know my kids do great work. I'm not going to spend much time looking at it before I approve it. And now, as a parent, I get this new message that my student has posted this cool activity. And therefore, I can see what my student did at school today, even while I may be across town or across the country. So that's exciting. That's how Seesaw works. I thought you'd be interested in seeing from beginning to end how an assignment is posted. So what if you do need more support with learning Seesaw? That's easy to do because you can actually get one-to-one personalized technology tutoring for using Seesaw or any of the other distance learning apps. And all you have to do is click on bit.ly/sftechtutors, and it takes you to the sign up page. You have it in actually 20 different languages that explain about the program, and then you click on the link to sign up for the actual appointment. Are there any questions? I'm going to check the chat. I do not see any in the chat, so I'm going to keep going and show you Google Classroom. So let's take a live tour of Google Classroom. Google Classroom is the learning management system for grades 3 and up. Now, it's not required that that be the dividing line. Some teachers in older than grades 3 use Seesaw because it's great. Some teachers use Google Classroom with kids in younger than grades 3. That's all good. But let's actually take a live tour. So how do you get to Google Classroom? Let me show you how easy that is. Just go to google.com, and your student will need to log into their SFUSD student account. So I'm already logged in there. And once you're logged in, and of course, if they're in a SFUSD Chromebook, they logged in already just by opening the Chromebook and getting started. So I'm going to go find Google Classroom. There it is in the waffle. The waffle is actually called the apps launcher, but it looks like, well, a waffle. And I'm going to show you a class that I belong to. This is one that I teach. So the view is slightly different, but not that different. Now, if your student has not already joined the class, by the way, when they're on the classroom main page, they would just click the plus and they would go to join a class. But we're already in a class that I belong to, so I'm going to show you a little more about that. And I clicked the back arrow too many times because, you know, technology. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's a fun class that I taught a bunch of administrators in the district how to use Google products. But let's say you're a student. As a student, you would still see this thing called the stream, which has announcements and activity and a link to a Google Meet, perhaps. Something like that the teacher has posted. The newest stuff is on top. And I would also find out if I had any upcoming work due. And then I could click on classwork. And a lot of teachers have organized the classwork by topic. And they've often put it in order for me or in the order I'd need it. Maybe class reference docs first and agendas and then daily information, or have it organized by subject area like language arts and social studies. I can also click on the People tab and see who the teachers and the students are for the class. And I believe from the student standpoint, you can also see your own grades there as well. As a teacher, I can certainly see more than just that. I can see all of the students' grades. So how do I participate in Google Classroom as a parent? Well, you can't actually become a student in the class. There are just actually legal and data privacy issues about having other parents involved, and they can see students' work, students that aren't their own, etc. So you can't actually be a student in a Google Classroom. But you can get guardian summaries. And that's easy because you don't have to do anything, basically. Your teacher just sends you an invitation email. And if they didn't, you can ask them to. And the invitation email, when you open it, it looks like this. It says the teacher name invited you as a guardian in Google Classroom. And you can accept or just ignore it. Or you can click I'm not the guardian. That lets the teacher know this was sent to the wrong person. And then you will get an email that looks like this. It's kind of small to read, but basically it will be the different things that your student has done and summaries of the work and what was turned in and if it was graded, etc. Hopefully you won't need a pair of glasses to read that. So if you need to, let's say you don't speak English, you can actually copy and paste that information right into Google Classroom, right into Google Translate to get it translated for you. Let me show you how that works. I'm going to copy that text, pretend that's the summary. And then I'm going to go to translate.google.com. And I'm going to paste the text in on this side. It will auto detect that it was English. And let's say I speak Arabic. Well, there's the translation right there into Arabic or Spanish or 60 other different languages. So Google Translate is a great way to not only understand what those guardian summaries say, but really what anything that comes your way says, if it's not in a language that you normally speak. And if you have a Gmail account, you can also choose the frequency of your guardian summaries, like do you want them daily, do you want them weekly, etc. So that's good to know. Where can you find more resources about Google Classroom? You can go to, let me show you this. Type in SFUSD.edu and keep going actually here and just say Google Classroom. So when you do it this way, you're not only saying, I want to go to sfusd.edu, but you're saying, I want you to search sfusd.edu for Google Classroom stuff. And ta-da! You'll have a bunch of options, including this one, information about Google Classroom for students and families. That looks good. And there it is. A whole lot more information for you about learning with Google Classroom. And in addition to sfusd.edu, you can get one-to-one tutoring help with Google Classroom as well. Are there any questions about that? I'm looking over to the chat. And yes, we do. Hi, I'm the school secretary. I'm watching because I'll be helping students with online enrollment in ParentVUE. A parent asked me if SFUSD uses IXL software. I believe IXL is a learning software, and there are schools that do use it. It is not recommended, as I recall, by the math department as the best way to learn mathematics, to learn the SFUSD curriculum and the way that we teach math. It's just a different approach. But I believe you would have to ask the school itself whether they are using IXL. So thank you for posting that question. I wish I could give a more universal answer. There is a program that is heartily endorsed by the math department called Dreambox Learning. And although it is there is a cost involved, so that's also school by school as to whether or not they'll be using Dreambox. So thank you for speaking up. I'm glad that you asked your question. I will also mention again that if you go, because you want to help. Okay, so yes, it is it is an approved software, and that means we do have a master contract with it. Let's actually go to SFUSD Digital Backpack. And so I Googled sfusd.edu and then Digital Backpack, which will search our website for Digital Backpack. There it is. And you probably went to the approved applications page. I think this is an older version of the website. It is. So let me actually take you to a better place to look for that. Nope, that's the same place. And anyway, so you can look at that list, but there's a new site that is just been put up. And I hope you'll forgive me, I'm just not able to turn to it right at the moment. But it actually goes through each backpack oh, well, anyway, it goes through each backpack app, and it tells you what grade level is it best recommended for. Is it free? Is it available to all students? Or is it one that the school needs to buy, pay into the license for? And so that's a helpful page. I'm sad I'm not able to put my finger on it. It's a pretty new page, but it's quite useful. So that is the other way of doing it. But yes, if it is on the list of approved applications, then it's part of the backpack. Ah, here it is. So this is the new page, which I find to be super useful. And these are different tools that are used across content areas, etc. But yeah, if you found it on that larger list, then it is. So anyway, that was probably a little more information than you needed, but hopefully that's helpful. Okay, I'm going to move on to one final tool in our last 10 minutes, which is Zoom. I'm actually talking to you by way of Zoom because I'm on a Zoom call that is streaming to YouTube. Zoom is an amazing tool. It's also complicated sometimes. So let's talk about, first of all, the best way to get into a Zoom call is simply go to sfusd.zoom.com/meeting. It's really worth writing down, sfusd.zoom.com/meeting. And when you do, it will take you to Zoom's meeting page. Just leave that tab open and move on, because it sort of like opens the door for your Zoom meetings for you. Then the next thing will happen is your teacher will have provided, or your student's teacher will have provided a link that looks something like that will get you into a Zoom call. Teacher may have provided that in Google Calendar, it could be an email, it could be in Clever or Seesaw or Google Classroom. Lots of ways that teachers share that. But let's actually take a little tour of the Zoom screen once you're in that shows you what you'll see. So I'm actually going to stop presenting my screen for a second. Well, Yeah, actually, I do need to share my screen for this part, huh? There we are. So when you are zooming, here are some of the important features. One is the mute button, and that's important if you want to be heard. One of the complaints we've been hearing a lot of within the last couple of weeks is that people's microphone sensitivity has suddenly become off. And oftentimes, actually, the microphone is way too loud. And there are two settings you can change that will help with that. One is to click on this little arrow next to the microphone, and then when you get into the settings for Zoom itself, you can slide the settings down to a less sensitive level. The other is if the child is using a Chromebook, over on the bottom right of the screen is some device settings. And so when they click on that, it opens up the device settings. There should be a slider that has appeared within the last month or so that lets people adjust the microphone settings right there. If that slider does not exist, you'll want to go into the settings for the device, click on the gear, and find out where it says about Chrome OS. If the Chrome OS is older than, if it's a smaller number than 81, then your Chrome is actually not updating, and you'll want to just do a help ticket with the student and family link. They can probably help you fix that without even needing to take the device anywhere. So that is mute. Here's the button you click to start or stop the camera. And if there's a red line through it, the camera is not recording. If there's no red line, the camera is streaming its video. And what we found is that Zoom is an amazing app, but it uses up a lot of internet bandwidth. And if you find that like you open up a Zoom call and like your whole screen goes dark, actually, that's usually not a computer problem. It's usually a bandwidth problem. And usually if you just stop your video on Zoom by clicking on that button, usually the problem fixes itself. And then you'll need to do some troubleshooting about how to improve your bandwidth. A couple other things worth knowing. You can click on that to see who else is in the Zoom call. Click on that to enter the chat so you can type things. You can click on that to have reactions like raise your hand or clap, or a couple other options as well. And if your teacher has offered the option of sharing screen, and not all Zoom calls allow that, but anyway, that's where you would access it. Oh, one other important thing, up on the upper right, we don't see it on this little icon, but on the upper right is a choice to choose, an opportunity to choose either gallery view or speaker view. So gallery view is the one that you see here with like the whole Brady Bunch, and everybody that's in the call, or most of them, are fitting on that single screen. But gallery view uses up a lot of internet bandwidth. So if you find that your screen is freezing, or just your computer's acting weird, or is herky-jerky, or again, the screen goes dark, you don't want to use gallery view, because think of it, each of these little videos is playing. That's a lot of internet bandwidth. So if you move over here, click the button, change it to speaker view so that only the person who's speaking, only their video shows up, it uses less of your internet. And there are other troubleshooting tips that we've made available to families as well. Ways to reduce your internet bandwidth, ways to get the most out of your hotspot. Again, if you're having microphone issues, or if your Chromebook's not working right, all of these are in a single help document, which is in last week's Family Digest for October 14th. Hopefully you're getting those emails, but you can also just Google Family Digest. I do it tonight because the next digest comes out tomorrow. But Google SFUSD Family Digest and you can get to the page where that is. And we translated this document into 5 different languages besides English, including all of these different help documents are in multiple languages. So that's really a worthwhile guide to have. It's the most common challenges that our families are experiencing with technology and the most helpful solutions to them. But what if you get stuck? What if you need more help? We are making more resources all the time. So check our website, SFUSD Family Technology. You can Google that. You can Google the problem, or better yet, go to YouTube and type in, how do I get help with whatever? And someone's probably made a great video to help you. And of course, the student and family resource link, familylink.sfusd.edu, or call the phone number for live support, 9 to 1 on school days, or leave a message. Or again, take advantage of our free one-to-one technology support for families. You can get up to a 30-minute tutorial session with a trained volunteer, thanks to the SF Ed Fund who's helping us do this. And it's bit.ly/sftechtutors. Or go to the Tech Resources for Families page. Which is really sfusd.edu/family-technology. And when you go there, oh, there's a link to our webinar, some announcements, and then a lot of different things you can click. Family webinars, and another way to get to it. Family tech tutorials, handouts, information for Seesaw and Classroom, the family technology, student and family resource link, beg your pardon. It's all there. We're actually going to be redoing this page in the next couple of days so that it's even easier to navigate and it's more user-friendly, less text to read and more icons and links to click. So come on back to check that out in a few days. Of course, there's always the student and family resource link. So I'll ask one more time if there are more questions. I don't see any in the chat. But if you need to, you can go to familylink@sfusd.edu for more information, or call them. You can also email me, Kiesel s@sfusd.edu. That's KESEL, KES like Sam, EL like Larry, at sfusd.edu, and I'll either know the answer or know who to connect you to. Thank you so much for spending an hour of your evening with me. I know life is busy and you have a lot to do, so I really appreciate your time. I hope this session was helpful for you, and I wish you all the best as you either are engaged in distance learning or as you are supporting the students who are. Thank you very much. Take good care. Bye-bye.